fold. What you want to do is what you can't stand this. So how do you try to keep under control? He says
By
there
making
are
more money.
excellent.
Right?
So
By trying to make more money.
So you are discount, but you know that okay, now I'm not comfortable. Oh, I have whatever Honda. So now let me buy what BMW. So this is the what you are interested in is what getting rid of your
Guilt.
discomfort, because all this will give you discomfort. But a normal method of dealing with that discomfort is what either
Upgrade.
getting more and more of things, right, that we think will give us more comfort. So either indulge more,
External comforts.
right? So more in external comforts because you think that you are still not comfortable. So let's have more external. What? Let's go on a better holiday. Let's go to a better spa. Let's go to a better whatever and forms of entertainment. So because you cannot stand your discomfort. So that means there is a more and more indulgence in external life, external objects. And the second thing is what?
Either you start drinking and drugs and whatever.
Distractions.
It's only temporary.
So that means, we are not talking, see what he is saying is, when you don't do this, what are the outcomes?
Whatever it is.
This is, he is not telling you should do or you should not. The more you see, this is what ends up being, the more and more you don't want to be there. It's not telling you, see, the whole spirit of the book is not for me to tell, hey, if you tell the truth, if you don't tell the truth, all bad things happen. This is the level of the book. The level of the book is extremely subtle and a very highly analytical and very intricate. It looks into human mind and it sees that if you haven't understood some realities, what are the outcomes? And when you look at people around, you can be, and look at your own self, you can verify it. It's not telling you what you should do and what you should not do. Please remove this should and should not from this book. This book is of a very high caliber. It's not a simple book of do's and don'ts. It's a book of analysis of how important it is for us to understand why values are important for us and to live by that. And if we don't do it, what is the cost? It's just factual. And the minute you understand these facts clearly, following values becomes spontaneous and assimilated.
Natural.
So what he says is, there are two things that can happen, and that is what either you seek, if you haven't understood the nature of the problem, you will seek more external objects, or you will what? Distractions. What are those distractions? Alcohol, drugs. These are all distractions. Correct? So that means now, if we are caught here, what happens is our discomfort remains, but we don't know how to, if we don't change this, what happens is what we want to indulge more and more here.
Conversely, does it mean that if you are having guilt, discomfort, fear, or some distraction like alcohol, it means that you are violating some value? Does it
Oh, that's a very good point. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, so that means Devesh's question is very good, right? His question is, suppose you find yourself with some guilt, some discomfort, some fears, some low self-esteem. Does it necessarily, what we are saying right now is, if you don't follow universal values, this is the outcome, and because of this outcome, you will feel some discomfort. His question is, suppose you find yourself with some discomfort and some of this is the only source of that is not following universal values, or there can be other
Reasons.
sources, other reasons. You understand his question?
Yeah.
Very good question. Right? What is your answer? Try to answer it.
Like Tushar said earlier, is built fear, comfort that we require, all of that makes us uncomfortable. And we try to be comfortable through alcohol, love, sex, or anything else that gives us that feeling of, takes us away from that.
Exactly. That is true. That we have understood. He's asking the other way.
That
He's asking backward. So it's true. This relationship is established. That nobody. But is it? Okay. So suppose somebody. I mean, what it practically means is, suppose somebody comes to you and says, "Oh, I really have a lot of fear," right? Can you attribute it only to
Not having universal values.
exactly?
No, there can be real there can be real fears also.
Wonderful. So that means it's one factor, but it's not the only factor.
You
So
can have
that's-
fear because there is somebody really coming with a knife after you.
Excellent. So that means, see, these are very important questions. Otherwise, what will happen? Somebody who has fear, you'll automatically conclude what? That, oh, that person is
Irrational,
not following. There are other reasons. So let's talk about some other reasons which are not disregard for universal values, which will still give you these feelings, right? So as we have seen that sometimes we create societal or cultural values which we mistake for universal values, and not following those values will give you what?
Guilt,
Feeling of
unnecessary.
guilt. You understand that? Can you give me an example of that?
So could you answer the question?
Dowry.
Wonderful. So that means there are certain cultural norms that we have created. Like, let's take her example, right? So dowry. Is giving dowry a universal value? Not at all. Actually, it goes against the universal values. Like, a person cannot be traded.
It's a societal value.
So it's a societal value, it's a cultural societal value. And suppose you are totally within that system, and suppose you didn't give, your parents didn't give dowry, and they would feel what? Sometimes, if they do haven't assimilated the value, they will feel what? Guilty for not having given dowry. And that guilt does it come from not following universal values?
Society.
No. It comes from certain societal norms that you have bought in without thinking about it. This is why when we talk about values, we have to be clear about all this. When we talk about universal value, which is the universal value, and distinguish it from what? The societal norms. We saw that analysis. You remember? We saw it in that class when I showed you that there are the societal imposition, cultural norms, and we take it all at one level of values. So you need to live an intelligent life, you need to
Be able to distinguish.
To be able to see through and see. It's not the generalized thing.
absolutely.
We can't-
So that means
It is
this
universal
guilt
that you
that you
see.
feel when you don't give a dowry, you don't need to feel guilty about. Do you see that? You don't need to feel guilty if you have thought through things and said, hey, it's not that that guilt comes as a result of confusion of what? Tell me.
Of whether it is a universal or a
Universal.
separate.
Excellent. This guilt comes when you have not paid dowry. It comes, suppose not paid, guilt comes from not understanding what is a universal value and what is a societal norm, which may not be healthy at all.
There are so many religious norms which, your gurus tell you, and you don't.
So
You don't,
it's obligatory and
re-
inability to
You don't have to feel guilty
differentiate
about it.
between universal and obligatory or living modern like societal.
No, please understand. No, the universe, so that's a different analysis. Please understand the levels of analysis here. Otherwise, the mind gets all confused. That was with reference to the real universal values. We make them into obligatory and not personal. That's a different thing altogether. Here it is confusing universal values with other social, cultural norms. Please
Religious.
understand, these are all different ideas. Otherwise, what will happen is this whole book and its nuances will be all lost. It's an amazing book. It's not all same.
So
Otherwise-
how will the nuance be lost, you said?
Sorry.
How will the nuance and the importance of the book be lost if we do not discriminate?
Yeah. So if you don't, so here you need to what actually free yourself from this guilt and say, hey, I'm not doing that. In fact, I'm following universal value. This is nothing to be feeling guilty about. That's when you rise above. Your ability to challenge them makes you a person who is not to conform to that. Do you see this? So that makes living a life of value is very, you have to be very intelligent to be able to distinguish between all of this. Now, let's look at fear. Suppose somebody has fear. So, can you automatically assume that the person is not following universal values? No, because as Tushar said, God, so if you're crossing the road and you all of a sudden see a very fast car, what? You will feel fear. Does it mean that you're not following values? No. So you can't use it the other way. Do you understand that?
I was talking about the general discomfort that the person has, that
That's
there is no
okay.
external
No,
stimuli.
but you first need to understand what that relationship is. You understand? So suppose you have the low self-esteem. The low self-esteem, is it only a result of not following values? No. You can be following values, but if you have not assimilated, suppose you are having a complex around your body.
Whatever your
Or
body, your parents
your-
have told you the thing, your friends have told you you're useless, you're not good at whatever.
So that means there are n number. Suppose your parents compared you and your sibling and constantly made you feel as though you're not bright enough. That give you a feeling of low esteem. Is it only because of you don't follow universal values? So how will you speak about it in a statistical term? How will you explain this? So the not following universal values will lead to all these problems, but all these problems can come
Not only with
not only from this source, but they can come from
external.
other sources too. There are other sources. You understand that? Is it clear? Yeah? So that means your discomfort, let's come back to your question. Your discomfort can also come from not only not following universal value. As I told you, if you follow universal value, but if you think that people who don't follow, right, get away and they're better off, your discomfort continues. Or if you suppose, right, the discomfort that we feel, let's analyze. The sources of feeling discomfort. This is a big thing because, as I told you, there was this guy in Bavaria. He came to me, and a young guy in 30s, pretty well off, and he says, I have this constant feeling of discomfort with myself. I'm never totally at ease with myself. There's always something which is nagging me. So that means the sources of discomfort. One of them can be
Not following
values.
universal value.
What could be the other factors? Can you give me some examples?
Fear of the unknown.
Excellent. Excellent. So that means nobody actually really knows what tomorrow is going to be like. That's a fact. It's not some value, it's a fact. That not knowing how tomorrow is going to turn out for me can produce some discomfort in me. So that means what? The unknown. Life is all about unknowns. In any decision that you make, suppose you say, I want to do this exhibition, I want to go. So many things are unknown, right? You decide to take part in exhibition. So many things. What is known and what is unknown? You tell me. You recently took part in that exhibition.
You don't know what kind of people are going to come. You don't know if you're going to do well.
Right? And what things are known? And okay, the general attendance is going to be this. But out of that, how many are going to come to you?
How many are going to buy?
How many are going to buy?
What the weather will be like.
Yeah.
What the
I
weather?
don't know what the weather
Exactly.
will be.
So that means every decision that you make, there are known factors and then there are unknown factors. So you never know how things will turn out. And when you don't know, there's a natural psychological feeling of that little discomfort, little anxiety, right? What are the other sources? Tell me.
Health issue can be one.
So what do you mean by health? Can you tell me?
Somebody has a health issue.
Okay, so people who are around you, like who are suffering, either mentally or physically, it can make you feel what?
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, there is a certain, you feel little anxious all the time.
Even you're caring for other people, like your empathy, you can create discomfort. That you see something wrong happening in Syria, you are affected, you are uncomfortable.
Even you are not indifferent to things, right? You hear all the
Empathy
time.
and compassion
things
also
are-
creates discomfort.
Empathy creates discomfort. Why? Because when somebody else is not comfortable, I'm not indifferent to it. I care for it, and it what makes me
It's a
what
classic example of somebody who's a winner at Wimbledon. He still feels empathy when he goes to the runners-up or the guy who is beaten. He feels sorry for that guy
that I could be
Yeah.
very much
on that
in
side.
that on that side. Right? So that means that even your empathy and your care for others will make you feel what?
That time you are uncomfortable. After the party.
So please don't think that discomfort comes only from
Not valuing
not your values. So what it means is while this is not this. Right? So that means not following values can lead to discomfort. But discomfort doesn't always come from
Not for
not following values. It can come from so many other sources. This is why this knowledge is not only about values. How does it take care of the unknown? How does this teaching take care of the fact that things are unknown? That can't change. How does it? What is the knowledge that is given to you which equips you well to deal with the unknown?
The fact that nothing is random.
awareness and acceptance.
The world is changing, it's transient, it's yes. But more than that, what is that knowledge? Tell
That you can change, you can by good karma change your destiny.
Engage knowing that it is unknown, and I will try to have my values and I will.
And knowing this is the only thing that's in my hands to do what I can do today.
And that it's not random what's happening.
Excellent.
That is the
Random.
next. So this unknown is not just the whim and fancy of things. it follows order, laws. It's not random. This is the most important thing. Whatever happens to me is not going to be a persecution of me for no reason.
She can derive some solace out of that.
So that means what here we say is you take out the randomness from the universe by introducing what?
Order.
Order.
Laws.
Laws. And then it, as Namrata says, if there are laws, then what do you have to do?
Follow them.
You have to recognize
Align
the
yourself
laws
with
and align yourself. Right? Then you begin to live intelligently. As you begin to align to those laws, as you begin to live intelligently, the fear of unknown will. This is why Vedanta is just all encompassing. It's amazing because there are more sources and it actually helps you with all these different things. It's a complete knowledge.
Nima, not only that, to
Now-
get rid of that unknown ka, this thing is value, follow values is one, but also the knowledge of
That's what I'm
God,
saying.
Atma, Brahma Vidya, that will like put the final
So
chapter.
now, here we are bringing in the unknown. Excellent. So here we are bringing in one partial aspect, which is the whole not randomness, laws and aligning to laws. In our language, we talk about knowing the nature of Ishvara and bringing Ishvara in your life. If you want to use this Vedanta terms, what it actually means is bringing Ishvara in your life. Ishvara is order. Do you see that? These are little modern
That
terms.
can mitigate your
That-
fear of the unknown.
Absolutely. Bringing Ishvara. This bringing Ishvara tantamounts to all of this. It doesn't mean some uncle you're bringing to your life and giving everything to him and say, now you take care of my life. Bringing Ishvara in your life actually means all of this. That you understand that the world is not random, it follows laws, and you can do things within your capacity to work with those laws, to ensure your well-being. Right? So you become proactive also. You don't just say, oh, laws are just laws and what can I do now? You see what I mean?
So the question that we have, that not everything is linked, sorry, I don't know your name.
Devesh.
Devesh said that, it is, if I'm uncomfortable or fearful or whatever is in the world, I'm not in line with universal values. And Tushar mentioned about the parents are not given enough well. But isn't it everything linked to all these universal values? Because Guruji did mention in the preface that this book helps the reader to go into total acceptability or acceptable of oneself, and plus the absence of obsession and sense of ownership will ultimately then mean that any discomfort is ultimately not in harmony with the universal values.
Okay, wonderful. In which case, the definition of universal value cannot be restricted to only speaking the truth or, so that's why these 20 values are not just, oh, don't cheat, don't harm, don't hurt. They are very sophisticated values, and that includes Ishvara, understanding Ishvara. All of that is part of this book. It's an amazing book. So if you increase the definition of universal value to actually understanding the truth of everything, of yourself, of Ishvara, then you can say, yeah, you're not in line. Then it also answers what Tushar is saying, that actually knowing the nature of Ishvara, knowing the nature of yourself, that all, what
That mitigates the
it
discomfort.
mitigates the discomfort. It's very important. It's a whole knowledge. But the knowledge has two parts. One is knowing the realities about Ishvara and about self. And the other one is what? that knowledge got making personal transformation. Both will, over a period of time, what will it do? It will reduce the discomfort with yourself.
But reducing discomfort sometimes result in a positive way. They donate to compensate whatever they do.
Yeah, so then at least, see, the thing is, people are not comfortable. People find different ways to deal with it. So one we saw is what people want more external objects. The other one does what is escapism. See, you have to put what you are saying in which category, right? What Nirmala is asking is what? That discomfort, how do people cope with that discomfort? So what we have seen so far, if you don't understand that values, in this case, the values produce discomfort, how do you cope with it? Further external objects, then
Or you get distracted and try to
distraction
cover it
through
up by
alcohol and whatever. And the third thing what she's saying is what? You donate, because you say they have done something wrong. So let me donate some. Right? So that also is a big thing. Charity is a big thing to get rid of your discomfort.
Of guilt.
Because you've done, everybody
Or
knows
even of
that
your
I
guilt.
can't do. Absolutely. Freeing yourself.
Prayashchit.
So exactly, this is for Prayashchit. So these are all the different ways, and among all these ways, this is a good way. Nothing, it's we encourage this way. It's better than
all our scriptures also say that when you're done, if this is done, this is
Prayashchit.
done, Prayashchit, then you
Big.
absolve yourself.
Yeah.
But then you have become aware that you have done that wrong, and then you are doing it.
neutral.
So that no one
It
can
should
be
not become a
100%.
license. It should not become a
No
license.
one will be following 100% the
मैं
right.
इतना चोरी करूँगा उसको इतना बड़ा दे दूँगा.
But it could bring a change. Eventually, that's the fate when you would not
So
do
that
it
means
further.
in your life
Or it could be a more
journey, what
evolved
you
person.
then,
You
if
understood.
you really are
But
looking
there
for
could be a
the
lot of
final
people who are-
comfort, what all you
Okay.
need to do then.
Boss ये
Now let's reverse this
Baba.
question.
Right.
Because the discomfort is not only from not following this, what all you need to do, let's reverse it. Suppose you are interested in your comfortable
Be
self.
so sharp and clear as to what is the universal value. Whether
Excellent.
each value is a societal value, an obligatory, just clear about these values being universal, which cannot be compromised or adjusted to suit any other any other societal, personal or legal.
So now it all comes down to what you want to be comfortable with yourself. What all are you going to do? Right now, what are we discussing is what within this context, what the universal values. When you disregard them, it does bring some discomfort. So you are trying to understand the source of these universal values, how they work, and not aligning how it creates discomfort and how important it is to align them for your own comfort, so that they don't become obligatory, but they become personal, spontaneous and personal. But only doing that may not give you the final comfort. So it requires what? Understanding
Knowledge.
the way the world works. So that means you need to bring the inquiry into Ishvara. In Vedanta terms, what is the nature of the world in which I am living and how does it operate? Right? So that means that is an inquiry into Ishvara, in the cause of the universe. Then you not only need to understand how the Ishvara operates, but what is your place in the grand scheme of things. So that also involves what?
Self-inquiry.
Self-inquiry. Which is beyond this following universal values. Do you understand? What is my place in the grand scheme of things is a different kind of question. Right? Not what should I do, whether I should follow values or not. Self-inquiry. What else?
Most people would normally question Ishwar, that there is no Ishvara because how can there be such bad happening in the world?
Yeah. So that means you
So-
need to really understand properly the nature of Ishvara. Right? You properly need to understand who you really are. What else would it require?
Relationships.
So that means all your whole emotional life. Your whole emotional life is something which is, it has its own what? So many causes which
Baggage.
interferes in all your relationships, your interpersonal relationships. So that means it requires for you to what? Come to terms with your emotional life also. Otherwise what happens? You just pay attention to being honest, being right, right? You only pay attention to big inquiry of how Ishvara is everything and aligning to different laws. And you only what I am, that Atma and all. This part gets ignored very often.
This is day-to-day living,
That's right. So that means
navigation.
getting your emotional house in order. That is also using Ishvara. There also we use Ishvara. But you can't ignore the emotions. Well, so that means Vedanta gives you knowledge of all of it. That's why it is holistic. That's why it is complete. Vedanta makes you recognize the value of values. Vedanta makes you what? Look into the cause of the universe and what is the nature of cause, and not some uncle who's sitting there, or not just something which is not there, right? Right? And it also, how am I? Am I this limited individual, or there is one thing about me which is much bigger than what I ever imagined? So it also makes me, and also what? My emotional life. That there is a certain order to my emotional life which requires fixing. I can't just go on with it because that also requires alignment. So, and it tells you how to do it. So that means if you really are looking to find yourself a real comfortable self, Vedanta is what? Complete. Right now, what is the scope of this book?
Only the universe.
The values.
Right now, we are looking at this.
It's more prescriptive than knowledge based.
So, but in this universal value, as you see, those 20 values will come, aspects of this, and this, they will come. And that's exactly what Bhavan is saying. What Bhavan is saying is, right now we are, it's a first chapter.